My friends, what is going on? I come to you tonight in anguish. I just went to the new Captain America movie, and it's hard to put into words how terrible it is. It's genuinely awful. Just terrible. Like, more than anything, the movie just looks awful. It is the worst CGI cartoon. It I just I wasn't even planning on making this video, but I have to do it just to get my mind off of it because that's how I like it. I'm the biggest fan that you can find. My freaking golden retriever's name is Thor. Like, that's how much I like comic book movies in the MCU, and it is just it's awful. Now, I will say this, silver lining, I do think the overall story does a good job of tying up some loose ends. Like, if you just read the synopsis of everything, I think you might go, you know what, that's not so bad. But the way they pulled it off, the CGI, the acting, the actors, and I think Harrison Ford's a goat. And I even thought he was terrible in it. It's just save your money. Like, if you have nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon in the middle of the summer when it's hot outside and it's for free on Netflix, go mow your yard. I think that's how terrible it is. It's awful. All right. Let's I'm sorry. let's let's get on topic here. So Tesla. Interesting. As you can see up here, I've labeled what was called a buying climax, and what when I asked for likes the other night and was like, hey, I think you guys might want to jump into Tesla here, because I had a very strong suspicion that this is what's called a seller's climax. Easiest way for me to describe those, I'm not going to get into those right now. Sorry, time out. Before we do the video, you guys know the deal. Nothing I'm giving you is financial advice. Everything I say is just my opinion on charts. I want to be clear. If you watched yesterday's video on GRRRR, Gorilla Monkey stock, it ran 25% today. Just an amazing day. It's up more in after hours. And follow me on Twitter, Colin_Gladman. That is, I posted a video there when everything is running hot, when we've got all these kind of names and things are getting rotated in and out of and everything like that. And it's just kind of the more speculative names are running hot. The euphoria can pick up in a hurry. So just, money is not yours until you take it. For instance, Tesla in the last, I don't even know, probably 3 or 4 days, I've been in and out of Tesla with either call or put options at least 4 or 5 times now, at least. And I just keep jumping back in with gains at the right levels. And my year started off terrible in January, and now Tesla share value hasn't recovered. But as far as the options loss that I had in January, I've completely recouped that, and now green on the year there. So now we just need Tesla stock price to improve, and we'll be good to go. But a buying climax and a seller's climax is where, when you start getting a lot of volume at the top of trends. For instance, look right over here. When this happened over here on Tesla, highest volume, low spread candle, the trend wasn't over, but you needed a pullback. You need a cool off. The effort doesn't meet the results. The buyers were having to try way too hard to keep pushing this thing up. So then sellers took over. We got a pullback, consolidation. I don't know if I made any, but in my Discord, this is where we traded this ascending triangle here. Made a whole lot of money on this run towards the end of the year. Same thing. All this volume comes in. I pulled up the tweet. I said, buyers are getting exhausted up here, trying way too hard. And I put in the tweet, like, I'm going to ride the trend until it bucks me, but this might be it. And I did think that we were probably going to come down here and then potentially keep running into the end of the year. But if you'll remember, that was when, Powell came out and basically threw a whole bunch of cold water on the deal. And it really stopped Tesla's run because, Tesla was starting to make new highs when Powell came out. This was that December 18th, knife in the indexes. And so I thought we were going to get something similar here. We get some consolidation and continue to move up. We didn't. I lost a lot of money on options. But down here, this increased volume at the bottom of the sell-off. And another thing that goes in with the buying climaxes and the selling climaxes too is up here was peak euphoria, myself included. Like, we were just like, dude, about freaking time. Tesla's made new highs. Anytime peak euphoria starts setting in, you're getting, oh, dang it. No, come back. There we go. Anytime you're getting peak euphoria, volume's increasing, spread of candles are getting smaller, but volume is getting more. That is just clear signs of distribution and buying climaxes. Same thing is true on sellers climaxes. Now, you'll get these in intraday too. So, it doesn't matter if you're looking at a 5-minute candle or if you're looking at a daily candle. For instance, just this week in my Discord, which it's closed. I appreciate everybody reaching out to me wanting to get in, but it is closed as of right now. If I open it on, here it is. If I open it on Fridays and usually take anywhere between like 15 to 25 people. So if you want to join tomorrow, follow me on Twitter. I'll post the link, and when it's full, it's full. That's it. So on QQQ the other day, when we were making this walk up here, so you have that opening candle, nice big volume, which you're always going to get right at open. And then you just get all this like choppiness walk up. Then you get a nice little volume burst right here. You get a nice widespread candle. You start pushing up a little bit more, and then you get another volume burst. But what happens? You get a high volume burst right up here at resistance, not really going anywhere. And I told my Discord, I said, be careful in here. This looks like we could get a pullback. Also, when we zoom out, sorry, I'm already getting way in the weeds. But this is what happened when I just am pissed and jump in here and make a video. And we were pushing up here towards this resistance, this falling resistance line, which, by the way, broke out of that today. Bink. Looks fantastic. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But that's a clean breakout. But anyway, back to where we were. So I said intraday, I was like, be really careful up here. This looks tired to me. And then, of course, we got that strong sell-off, rebounded a little bit into the day, but you never made a new high after that. And then it proceeded, gap down, bought back up. And so you didn't even come back there till today. So from Tuesday, you didn't even make a new high till Thursday. So once again, it's just another symbol of like a buying climax. It's too much effort with too little result. And then that's when you get the pullback. So, let's jump back over here to Tesla. So seller's climax. Drastically increased volume. Everybody's pissed off. Everybody's calling for Elon's head. He's an idiot. He's a Nazi. This thing's going to 200. And I rode puts this day. Go check Twitter. I rode puts all the way down this day. And I closed them out at the end of the day. Very next day, jumped in calls 2 different times. And yeah, I'm not going to jump into all that, but now we're at a serious watch for one of 2 things. Either this is a dead cat bounce, which I think is the most likely, or Tesla's going to make new all-time highs. I think overall, with where the market is, though, I'm leaning more towards because we typically see a lot of weakness kind of in that March period time, certainly post OPEX. So I think we could run good for another, about 2 to 4 weeks, especially. And then after March OPEX, so second after March going into April, I think is where we need to be on guard. But at the end of the day, guys, we take it one day at a time. All we're trying to do is stack up probabilities in our favor to make trades. And you're still going to make both good and bad trades when you have the probabilities. I used to play poker a ton and did it even semi-professionally back in the early 2000s. And so I used to watch it all the time on TV. And I mean, you would still have times. They would always, show what the players' cards are and what the odds were. You would still have times where a dude had a 98% chance of winning the hand. That means the other guy only had 2 card outs, and they would hit one of those cards on the river. So sometimes you just get boned. Even when you have everything lined up in your favor and the way you want to, and it's just like, oh, you can't get more beautiful than this. Something will happen and you get screwed, which is why you just can't be over leveraged in any one individual trade. It's survive and advance, compound. Survive, advance, compound. Survive, advance, compound. That's what your money needs to be doing. So, option number 1 is I like Tesla to get at least back towards somewhere between 370 to 400. I think for sure that's going to happen. 360 is a big level. Why is 360 a big level? If we back out here and we look at a weekly chart, these 3 weeks that ascending triangle was going on, pretty much right at 360. We get through 360, I don't think there's any question 370 to 375 is going to come real fast. My buddy Bronx, who also helps run my Discord, pointed out, and shout out to him, that the last time, we'll see how this weekly candle finishes up as of tomorrow, but the last time we kind of had this dragonfly doji candle, which if you'll remember, and I was bullish on, I lost money in calls, like this dragonfly doji right here, right? And Tesla tried to push up, but sellers overwhelmed the buyers, and we got that shoved down. Once it came up here, rejected key levels, just filled that gap, rejected the key levels, and now we're moving down and pretty much left gaps every single day. Actually, this one closed right there. So sometimes you have a great setup like this. I had a dragonfly doji in this imbalance over here in support. Really felt good about getting a push back up towards a minimum of like 390 to 400, and it just didn't happen. Like the market was just weak. Just didn't happen. So as of right now, we do have a good weekly look of a nice dragonfly doji. That means sellers push this thing all the way down and buyers essentially bought that dip all the way back up. And we got news on our side too. We got the news that, Elon's going to be getting, some government contracts, even though that really came out at the end of December. It's just kind of like hitting the news now. But very similar to this candle back here. This is when I made my first $1 million in option trades back in 2023 on this squeeze right here. This was a beautiful, I'm sorry guys, I'm just all over the place, but I hope you're learning something. If you do, like and subscribe. I know I'm an evil person for asking you to do that. But this inverse head and shoulder right here, had the push up, the retest, and then we were off to the races. I jumped in and out of that squeeze multiple times, where in option trades, or through option trades, is where I made my first $1 million in that summer. Not first total, but first million through option trades. So, anyway, let me go back to that weekly look. So we're getting a very similar look as to right here. Volume is certainly going to have picked up down here, so we want follow through. Even better is just go ahead and give us a hammer. Hammer does not matter if it's red or green. This is a perfect look of a hammer. Now, but notice here, you also got a hammer right here, and then you still dip down the next week. So, but hammer candles are signs of stopping the trend, right? And what I like about this was when Elon was buying Twitter and everything like that. What I like about this one is this whole move is a much more obvious corrective move, in my opinion. Just like this one, right? A much more obvious corrective move coming in right here. Now, I said we can bump up here, come up towards 400, and then we get rejected, and then we have to come down here and make a new low. I do think that's a possibility. I really think about 320 is going to be our low before we make new all-time highs. Somewhere very close within that range is my personal opinion. And I'm nervous that this is all a bull trap. If we keep pushing up towards this major resistance, not minor, it's going to be major resistance, and this volume keeps getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, it is only a matter of time before it rolls over, and you're at least going to get a decent retracement, probably a minimum of like a 618 retracement, so a 60% pullback. We'll dive into that once we get a little bit closer. For now, I think upside looks good. I was looking at after hours, which, as always, take after hours with just a grain of salt. But if we can gap over that 360, that'll be huge. And Tesla was pushing it in after hours. So Tesla's at as I make this video, Tesla is at 361.90. That is huge. Gap above that, yeah, especially like this gap down right here. This candle right here, it's high of the day. What was that? 362.70. So anything around 363, unless something crazy happens, because there's no major data before open or anything like that, I think this is tomorrow could easily be and remember the market is closed on Monday. I think that could easily be the bull trap candle. It could be the candle that is Tesla's just almost straight up put in something like what is that? Yeah, I would say something between like a 5 to 8% day. Everybody is just screaming and yelling, "Mom, I'm going back to the moon. Elon's taking me," or Mars, wherever you're going. But I think that's a very strong possibility. I certainly think it could be a test, and then maybe if the market got weak towards the end of the day, then you start to shrink back. That'll be a tell as well. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is just a nasty bull trap. I always teach my traders what's going to screw over the most people. What's going to screw over the most people is just an insanely strong Friday. Everybody on X all weekend is just like, Tesla to the moon, Tesla 10,000, talk to me, Kathy Wood. That's what would screw over the most people. I can get behind that if we start getting above previous all-time highs. So that's 414.50. I don't think that happens tomorrow. If that happens tomorrow, you might never see a video of me ever again, because with the call options I have going, bye, girl. So that's what I would need to see. I would need to see us look really strong through like 414.50. Everything between where we're at and 414.50, call it noise. That's the way I feel about it. So I'm not interested in playing downside on Tesla at all right now. I'm only interested on playing upside at key levels. Once we start getting to 380, that's when I'm going to put my safety goggles on and be ready for ugliness. But at the end of the day, we'll take it one day, one level at a time. I would love nothing more than this weekly candle to have the exact same result. I just don't think we're there yet. But I would love to be wrong. And it's for sure going to be one of those. Like I play Tesla topside till it bucks me, and then I'll play it downside till it bucks me. I don't have any problem admitting I'm wrong or just taking a losing trade. It just is what it is. It's the name of the game. At the end of the day, we just need a few more winners than losers, and we make a lot of money. That's the goal. So that's kind of how I feel about Tesla. So let me sum that up, and then we'll jump into a couple other charts, and then I'll let you get out of here. So for tomorrow, anything over 360 to start the day, a back test at 360, in my opinion, is incredibly viable. If you start to lose 360, I would be extremely cautious. And even if you lose 360, where did we close today? What was our close? Our close was 355. Maybe back towards that. And I mean, you can see that was that open, right? Like that's what I talked about right there. So we're right there. So if let's just say we gap up to 362. If you came back towards 356, and then it just, I mean, it can go full Tesla. I mean, you can put in a 10-point 15-minute candle, a 10 to 20 point 15-minute candle on Fridays with Tesla in either direction are not uncommon at all. That's why when I take my option positions in Tesla, it's always a build out. I always am like, this is where I'm starting. This is where I'm going to average in some more. This is where I'd be willing to dip by. Here's where I got to wave the white flag and say, you got me. So I think any type of gap up is very viable back to today's close, because that's also the Monday open. I like anything in there in that weekly support. Start losing that, and like worst case scenario is a gap up, sell off. You put in a bearish engulfing or a dark cloud cover, and then we make the new low. I think at that point in time, there's no doubt about it, especially if the market is weak. So got to stay on our toes there. But for the most part, I think that's a low probability. I think the most probable thing is more topside. Full disclosure, I'm already in calls, and I'm up about 20% right now on those calls. Yeah, and I mean, if a major gap up happens, I might even take some profits right at open. I would probably say if we gap over 360, I'm going to hold unless we start losing 360. We start losing 360, I might just cut the position altogether and then start a new one once I feel like we found some support. As we push up, once you start getting into this previous zone, that was our support resistance flip, I think you need to be really cautious. Like if you're already in calls like me and you start entering up in here, you should have your initial investment off the books. Like I'm in some Tesla leaps right now that I'm just not even paying attention to. For the most part. You know what I mean, guys. Come on. But anything that's short dated, certainly anything that's like 2 weeks or less, you need to be on your toes. You need to be getting you some profit. I will be. You do whatever you want. You can have my bag if you want it. I'll give it to you. I'll sell it to you right here, right around 370. Any takers right now, you just let me know. That's what I'm thinking. And then I'm just going to see what does my strength look like. I would love nothing more than to gap up, shove up here, take my profits, get a rejection back towards that 360, and then shove up again. But we'll see. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking on Tesla. The first time that I'll start kind of going, okay, maybe we got something going here, is if we get back above this 383.30 level. We start getting back above that, I'll go, okay, maybe we're on to something. But if we get back above that and the volume is telling us, especially if we put in big old fat candles and that volume is dropping off, you make your own decisions. But enjoy your bag. All right, enough Tesla. I can talk about it all day. Lightbridge, I've been in this one since $9. I'm in shares. I love it. You got above these previous highs right here. I really don't think there's much in the way of this thing running to 30. Do what's best for you. I'm already in it, been talking about it. There's going to be red days, but if you do get any type of back testing towards that $12 level, that's a great spot to take a stab at it as well. Let's see here. I'll get to Gorilla. Don't stress. Tempest, off to the races. Started calling it out back over here in the low 50s. I think this one looks great. Eventually, it's going to run out of steam and it'll have some pullback, but it's full on like a hood or a Palantir, anything like that. Like it's just now making this move. Like so Tempest, right? Like this double top that was here, and then it came all the way back down here. And I'm not a anytime I ever talk about like different cycles or stuff, too many people use cycles as like, this is what happened before, so that means things are going to happen again, and that is not how it works. The cycles and the patterns work because those patterns and the way stocks consolidate and the way they move in accumulation and distribution repeat. It's not because, it squeezed 1,000% this time, so therefore it's going to squeeze 1,000% this time. That puts my price target at this. That's not how it works. But look at this little double top right here, and then your pullback. Where'd you go? There you go. So this little double top, then you kind of got your pullback, then you went off to the races. So, but I mean, I really think overall how you could use it is just use an extension. This is from a macro point of view. From back here at its lows, to that kind of double top high, back to its lows. This thing going to $100, in my opinion, all day long. And that 1.618 that's up there at 233. I think you factor in the greatest trader of all time, Nancy Pelosi's in it. I mean, the sky's the limit. Don't you wish you jumped in and full ported NVIDIA whenever she did? Bet you do. I do. So, BBAI, this is another one that I'm in. Very similar to that light bridge look. Pennant that broke out has been moving and squeezing. I like the fact that the volume is staying low on these pullback consolidation days. If you do just get a massive move, because I really think this one's going to about 16 or so, like towards its previous all-time highs. If you get a massive volume push towards 16, gets you profits. Soundhound. I really like this one. It is in a descending triangle, and typically that is a bearish formation, and you get something like this and this and this and this, and that certainly could happen. But it's giving me that same vibe, similar to Roblox. Also, too, when you kind of really zoom out, I mean, it's basing on top of its previous all-time highs. It's getting some really nice flow. You got potential, the NVIDIA partnership to go along with it. So even if it does break down, if it comes back down for some reason down to like 7 or 8 at that 200-day, which is the retest of that falling resistance line, that's going to be a great time to buy. I am in calls here, full disclosure, just because it's catching some really nice flow, and I like the way that it's coiling. Maybe if the market's bad, it does one of these, or even a dip below, sweep the lows, and then you get a V-shaped recovery. Neither one of those would surprise me, so I'm chilling through that. Okay. Last but not least, the granddaddy of them all. Talked yesterday about how we finally had consistent volume, not these little goofy volume spikes. And then everybody on Twitter was like, squeeze, it's the next this, that, or the other. But you have consistent volume coming out, breaking this downtrend. I do think that I went full ADD last night, and I drew out the extension and then didn't talk about it because I started looking at other charts. So on this, how I'm looking at it is here's our very clear impulsive move. Then we have a very clear consolidation followed by the start of a new impulsive move. Now, I am just in shares on this deal. Congratulations to everybody that banked today. Make sure you're securing some profits along the way. But I love the characteristic. So we have that previous all-time high, and now we've got a gap and go candle. So this is a breakaway gap. Now I want to see some continuation gaps. You want to see those candles that boom, 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 really put in those moves. Now it's going to look like, overall, like Lightbridge, right? So you got the breakaway, but then all of a sudden you had to come all the way back here and retest at the 50. Then you started moving again. So if something like that happens, it's not the end of the world for me. Even if it, if you're like me and you're already up in a lot of profits, worst case scenario, put a stop at your entry. You're just playing with house money at that point in time. Even if it's got to, which I don't think is the most likely in any way, shape, or form, to be honest with you. But even if you do come back here and retest and then go again, that's fine. While it's rolling, let it roll, baby. The EMAs are constantly widening. You got a sharp curve right here on all of your EMAs. Really, you could do it as if you're doing it purely as just a swing trade, you could say like a daily close below the 5 SMA. That's a good time. Let me go back to like BBAI. Like look at the 5. It's just kind of riding that 5 up. And even when it gapped below, put in a bullish engulfing candle, getting continuation. So those 5 SMAs are just great for momentum trades. Look at Tempest, right? Sorry, I'll zoom in here. I know y'all can't see it as well as I can. This orange line right here. Just riding it right up. That 9 and that 5. The 9 EMA and the 5 SMA are great for that. What are some other kind of little squeeze plays that we've been talking about? Yeah, so like Lightbridge, Oklo. Let me throw them up there. Look. When the momentum is strong, when they're just riding those EMAs and bumping up, just chill. Especially if you're in shares like me, just chill. Let it do its worth. If you're in one of these kind of plays and you're down here sweating over 5-minute candles, like, shame on you. You deserve not to make money. Let the stock do its thing. When you're just in shares, no expiration. Quit trying to be the smartest guy in the room, timing the top or the bottom. Just put your stop in at your break even. And then if it has let's say tomorrow we go up here towards 35, move it up to 30 or whatever. I mean, I don't care. Whatever works best for you. The cool thing about trades like this is you're just deciding, how much money do I want to make? Not, am I going to make money on this trade? Like, it's a beautiful position. Like, think how lucky that is. Just to go, I get to decide how much I'm going to make on this. And set a stop or have a plan before the market is open. And don't allow yourself to compromise on that. For instance, Lightbridge. I told the team, we get through, so I bought at 9. I said, we get through 14. Like, we get up here towards 14, which is these previous highs right over here. I had 300 shares. I said, we hit 14, I'm selling 100. And then if we hit 30, which is my next target's up here, like, we push up here towards, it's essentially all-time high falling resistance, like, I'm selling another 100. And then the last 100 are on the house. We'll see what happens. We broke through 14, and it was so strong yesterday, I'm not going to lie. I was like, you know what? I want to hang on to these because this is a strong momentum candle. And it kept chilling around like 1430, 1450, kind of kept bouncing around. And I just told myself, I go, you know what, dude? You're not setting a good example right now. You said you were going to close out once we got into the 14s, and you're not. We have no idea what could happen overnight on companies like this. If they do an offering, who remembers the summer squeeze of GME? I do. I had about $100,000 worth of call options go from, I'm over there counting my money, and then at like 6:30 a.m., Ryan Cohen comes out and goes, dilution. And those call options just automatically basically went worthless at that point in time. So that's what I'm talking about. You can have the best lineup. You can be at the right place at the right time and roaring kitty tweets, and all you're thinking about what color yacht you want to pick out, and then something happens and it's gone. So please take profits. Have a plan in place before the market is open. That's it. If this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe. Much love. I wish you all the best tomorrow. I'll be out there in the Twitterverse. I'll post the Discord link probably like right before market close tomorrow. And yeah, join the team if you want to. Don't if you don't. I don't care. All right. Y'all have a good one.